I think poetry is one of those ways of storytelling that really allow you to connect with readers or audiences in a very compact and accessible way, in the sense that, like, a story can be 2 pages, it can be 1 page, it can be a paragraph, it can be a haiku. And it really allows you to explore different ways of storytelling, different ways of having a story live on the page, as well as when it's being performed. I guess it just allows for you to be experimental and explore different ways of sharing stories, I guess. I wrote my first poem when I was 14, and it wasn't necessarily a poem, but it was like a rap. And it was for a school project. We had to write about safe sex practices and abstinence and that sort of thing. So that was my first kind of poetic text, I guess. I guess I write about what it means to be a Black, queer, millennial woman in South Africa today. I guess South Africa really informs what I write about and how I write about it. And also, that's like my immediate experience or reality. So I guess that's the thing that kind of informs my experiences, my feelings, my dreams, and that sort of thing. I never know that a poem is finished. I always feel like poems are never finished, to be honest. But I think that there's a moment when you have to let go, particularly as someone who also publishes poems, just making peace with the fact that it's never going to be finished, but that it reaches a point where you kind of feel comfortable enough to let it go and share it with other people. I never know when it's finished. The thing that makes a good poem for me is if I can come back to the poem over and over and over again, and each time that I come back to the poem, it has a different meaning. I get something new from it, I guess. If a poem keeps showing you something new, I guess that makes a good poem for me. Yes, I have a poem that I really love by Lucille Clifton, which is, I think it's a poem that I've kind of adopted as my mantra, I guess. It's come, won't you celebrate with me what I've shaped into a kind of life? And the last bit of the poem, hopefully I don't get it wrong. Come celebrate with me every day that something has tried to kill me and has failed. I think the thing for me was that when I found poetry, I found my voice, and it really affirmed that I had a place in the world and that I had something to say. And so I think it allows us to share our voices and to validate the fact that, we all have something to say and our stories are valid, I guess. Whoa. I haven't thought about that, but I guess I I would say that I would not necessarily be able to write a poem about someone else's experience. Or maybe I could, but I guess there are certain details that would be missing, I guess. I guess for me, I was always drawn to the poems written by Black South African women, poems that kind of reflected the context that I grew up in and lived in. I couldn't necessarily like connect with Shakespeare and, poetry by dead white people. But like I always just felt very disconnected from that. But anything by Black women poets, I felt really drawn to, I guess. In January, birthdays are celebrated with a bucket of KFC, a simple cake, and Coca-Cola. Schools open in January, so do not even consider throwing a party. If you were allowed to invite your friends from next door, you were lucky. But even with January syndrome, we made sure to not attend the first day of school in our November uniform or December braids, even if they were still in good condition. Everything had to be brand new. Hair relaxed or shaved, Vaseline so thick it could withstand any and all weather. We were shiny and hopeful for what we did not know. From our hairline to our toenails, we were new. The first day of school was always a contest, a competition that secretly bulldozed some wallets. We side-eyed school shoes to see if they were a toughie or a buccaneer. The boys who wore grasshoppers were cooler than cool. The girls who did not adhere to the knee-length rule were delinquents sent to detention. Stationery was not complete until it came in a Walton's box. Learning did not begin until your black book was covered in plastic and something colorful. New marked us, shaped our behavior and postures. New created an illusion that some haves had more than what they flashed. Sacrifice made provision. Sacrifice miraculously multiplied itself in the face of love or shame.